Hello guys, let's talk about IP addresses. IP address is an address. First of all, it's an address of a machine. Now, this machine is connected to the public internet. So, how to identify that machine? How to find the address of that machine, which is which is connected in public internet? We can find that through IP addresses. Now, this IP address, if we talk about IPv4 address, then this IPv4 address is having four numbers separated by dot. For an example, you have A, B, C, D, these four numbers. Now, these four numbers will have a range, and that range starts from 0 to 255, right? So, there are some more information on IP addresses, like our own local machine normally has IP address of local host is 127.0.021. So this is our local host. There are some IP addresses like, for an example, I'm trying to share here a critical example or important example, that is in our private network, our machines and all machines which is actually on our private Wi-Fi network normally has IP address of prefix 192.168.xy. So this is kind of a prefix you can see or you can observe where of the machines who are connected in private Wi-Fi network. Let's talk about port. What is port? Port, you can assume that there in your system, if you allow multiple programs to listen and to listen in your new network connections in the same machine, and if you think that how they are actually listening without colliding, right, then there should be some, they need to pick some port number, right, and through that port number the programs can listen, right, and this port number should have a range. Yes, that's true. And that range is basically total number of port number normally which lies is 2 to the power 16, right. And if you think in terms of range, then the range would be like 0 to 65535. So that is the range of a port. Now, from this perspective, if we think, we can also have some other examples. This port has some there are some ports which are reserved for systems or well-known system actions or system actions, we can say, and these are well-known ports, and these ports normally reserved like 0 to 1023. This number of ports normally reserved for system actions, and we should not be used these ports for any sort of user level process, and certain ports are predefined to use, right, although you usually won't be required to have them memorized, okay, but they can sometimes come in very much handy. For an example, like port number 22, which talks about secure shell, right, as we all know that port number 80 is reserved for HTTP actions or HTTP protocols related stuff. In case of 443, as we all know, it is for HTTPS, and 53 is for DNS lookup. So the next thing is, what this is a very interesting thing, like DNS. DNS is very important thing which I would like to cover in this lecture only, because DNS talks about, I mean, the full form of DNS is like domain name system. From the name itself, you guys are understanding one thing, that it describes the entities and protocols who involved in translation from domain name to domain name to IP address, which is very very important. So this, there are some entities, there are some protocols who are involved in this translation process, and DNS plays in an important role. So DNS query is a very important thing which is required here to be executed, and DNS query to well-known entity should be done, which are responsible for returning these IP addresses.